In PrivacyWatch, WhatsApp says hackers have hijacked dozens of phones through a flaw in the app. The company says hackers were able to access the phones through missed calls from unknown numbers. Even if the user denied the call, the hackers were able to install spyware on the phone.
The Israeli firm NSO Group has been accused of being responsible for the hack. They deny it. WhatsApp says it has developed a fix for the problem. They're encouraging users to update the application.
So here to explain what this all means is CNET senior producer Dan Patterson. Okay, Dan, how bad or concerning is this attack?
This is a concerning cyber attack. Look, when we talk about data breaches and when we talk about Facebook applications like WhatsApp, we're generally talking in the billions or at least hundreds of millions of numbers. There are 1.5 billion WhatsApp users who could have been exposed to these exploits. But what we're concerned with here is that these are sophisticated cyber weapons developed by an organization that sells and has a history of selling these cyber weapons to the highest bidder. Mostly that means nation states, designed to target individuals, attorneys, and journalists involved in human rights activities. So let me say that again. Although we are talking about massive data breaches, this is a zero-day exploit built by a company with a history of selling weapons, digital weapons, that target civil rights attorneys and journalists.
So the way we described this, it seemed like you didn't have to actually interact with it. I mean, normally you might get an email, you click on it, and then it's all over. Yeah. But as long as you don't open that email, you don't run the risk. But this doesn't seem like that's the case.
The fascinating component of this is when we say sophisticated, we mean pretty sophisticated. This application was able to do a lot of things remotely. I spoke with some sources very early this morning. They said, hey, look, the biggest thing here is that this app could do what we call exploits. It could make your phone perform behaviors remotely, almost anonymously.
Wow.
So what's really interesting to me is WhatsApp and its use around the world. I mean, I've lived for years in Nigeria. WhatsApp is the primary means of communication on devices. And then why I bring that up is because we here in the US, we use text messaging. There's a variety of things that we use. A lot of people use WhatsApp because they think it's encrypted. Yeah. I've never understood why having your phone number, the same one that you have on your regular account, be the same number that's used for WhatsApp. Because if that's how they're just targeting, it's phishing, you're just calling around. If they know your number, Dan, this company, they can just send you that call and you don't pick it up, or you do pick it up, and somehow now you're hacked.
Yeah, often encrypted applications or third-party applications like WhatsApp will use your phone number for verification or to say that this person is associated with this device, or at least the device that this phone number is associated with. Now, in this case, the zero-day exploit took advantage of your phone number being attached to your account and being able to say, for WhatsApp's purposes, to identify that your phone is a part of at least owned by this phone number is pretty important. We need to know that, Vlad, I'm talking to you and not an impersonator. But at the same time, we also need to be able to trust. And I think what you're getting at here is that WhatsApp, with its encrypted messages, is trusted by billions of users.
Right, and the reason I brought up Nigeria is because
like, one of those users, Jared Kushner, allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah. Well, the reason I bring up Nigeria and other countries is because there is, the freedom of the press does not exist in the same way that it does. There is freedom of the press, but journalists are frequently targeted by the government, by the military. And so if they're able to target certain journalists who are being critical of the government, that's disconcerting.
That, Vlad, is the precise point on why an exploit like this is so important. And when we say that government or nation-state actors, at least an actor that has the resources of a nation-state, interoperated with a group like NSO. And we did speak with NSO very early this morning as well, and they said, hey, look, we just make the tools. It's not up to us if somebody else uses it. But these aren't, and I spoke with a black hat hacker, and he said, look, this, I'm 100% certain this is not some kid in his parents' basement. This is a sophisticated, refined attack that required resources.
Wow. Really important story, and I'm glad you're on this, because I think that in the world that we live in today, where there's so many things happening, trade war, markets down, plane crash, that this has implications that are far-reaching.
Yeah.
Dan Patterson, always great to have you. Thank you.
Good to see you.